Alright, so this is all very time consuming. A half-hour video it takes half an hour to record it, but it also takes about an hour to download it. Hour and a half maybe, at this location. Um, at the other location that I have that I'm able to download, it would take 4 to 6 hours in the least. I gotta get back to showing the Facebook messages between myself and many of these people. So I gotta go through all of Alicia's. I have to finish up Natalie and I's. And then, of course, there's Tim Beeson. And there's also a bunch of the other threats that I received. There's a lot of other paper evidence that I gotta show. Including people that I was involved with and people that I went to for help. Joanna Taylor Smith's is already up there, but Derek Parrish, I'm gonna have to find his. This is all gonna take a lot of time. I started Natalie's while I was up in South Dakota, and of course I have been running around like a chicken with my head cut off for about 3 years, so it's difficult to sit down and find the time to do these things, especially when I still have to make sure that the people who are taking care of me are not overburdened. They should never have been burdened. My disability money was so that I could take care of myself, and that money has been spent since Natalie was killed on appeasing bad cops and bad courts. The assault by Officer Waylon Lolatai, they should have dropped those charges immediately. All of these officers who took part in doing wrong to me, every one of them had something to say about me getting a civil lawyer. You can get this evidence when you talk to a lawyer. Your lawyer can get this for you. So the medical community won't allow me access to my medical records. I have to get an attorney for that. The courts won't allow me access to that evidence. I have to get an attorney for that. The police won't allow me access to that evidence. I have to get an attorney for that. There's only so much that I can do with my limited means. I didn't have the money to go to all of these court dates. At the same time, I broke the law for a reason. It's because when I tried to do things the legal way, I was ignored. And I was going to continue to be ignored unless somebody actually went in with me, which did not happen until Molly Smith, and the police just outright refused to investigate any of that. Or if I break the law and hope that forces the evidence into the hands of the law. But no, that's the thing, is that the law doesn't work. It's set up to victimize the most victimized people in America, those who grew up in foster care. So I've outlined a little bit of what I'm trying to bring out. There's a lot of evidence that was on those phones. When Natalie first disappeared, it was important to document everything that her and her friends and family had put me through before she died. But the police didn't care before she died, so it was important to document that too. It was also more important to find her killer than it was to defend myself at that point. It was more important when she disappeared to find her safe than it was to defend myself. I sacrificed my entire life in just a few moments of decision making. I had to decide who I loved more, myself or Natalie and Maddie and Alicia and Jamie and her son. I had to make sacrifices for Candace Bondurant and her daughters. Sacrifices for a lot of people who had to fear, and rightly so. But none of these people actually feared me. They feared their own sins and the fact that I knew them, and still do. Bringing their sins to light, that doesn't make me a bad person. I didn't just sacrifice myself, they sacrificed me for their own selfish pride. Alicia's pride, Ted's pride, and Rose's pride are the reasons that Natalie died. Candace Bondurant is the worst friend I ever had, despite the fact that all of this happened because Natalie was afraid to tell the truth. And Alicia was afraid to tell the truth. Fact is, Natalie sacrificed her life for her family, and she sacrificed her life for me. If she hadn't shown up that day at Starbucks in 2016, I would have been dead. And she might still be alive, of course, with what she had told me on that day. If I had killed myself, she might have killed herself too. You know how much of a messed up situation it put me in for my life on that day to be the reason that Natalie hadn't killed herself 100 times. 100 times, she said. That's a lot of burden. That's more burden than somebody feeding me. That's more burden than someone letting me use their water. The thing is, none of these people should have been burdened with those things. And those things aren't the reason I went to any of these people for help. I went to them for help because there was a much bigger problem. Miss Peaches should have come forward. She won't because of her selfish pride. However, Miss Peaches wanted to help. She was just too cowardly to do so. Jamie, on the other hand, she's a manipulator. And those of us who know her are already aware of that. There's a lot of men who would follow her to the ends of the earth because she's pretty. I don't give a fuck how pretty she is. I care about her son's safety. Just as I cared about Candace Bondurant's children's safety and Shelley Rochelle Campbell's children's safety when I tried to kill myself in January of 2018. The police wouldn't do a goddamn thing. They pretended I was trying to kill myself as an excuse not to look at any of the evidence of things that people were doing. Now, showing you what happened on the internet, a lot of you guys, you want proof that people assaulted me in real life. That's the problem. See, I didn't have a video recording device on at all points in time. I would have loved that. I would have loved to be able to send Natalie Bollinger video recordings of the assaults that I was enduring. Then again, how many women, while their husbands are beating on them, are holding a recording device to record it at the time? How many of them know the exact moment that that man's gonna fucking flip shit and beat the hell out of her and have time to set up a camera? And if they do, if they do have time to set up a hidden camera to record those things, well, oftentimes those women become instigators to try to get that on tape, and then that's on the tape. And it doesn't work in their favor in court because they had to instigate to get hit. That's not right either. I believed Jamie only to a degree, only to a point. See, the fact is, it wasn't whether or not Jamie was telling the truth that mattered to me. It was the safety of her son, and still is.